Coming up, the Supreme Court delivers a major blow to tech giant Apple. Our tech expert weighs in on the smartphone fight.
All right, a huge Supreme Court victory for Samsung. The justices sided with the tech company today in its patent fight with Apple. Now, today's unanimous decision means that Samsung may not have to give up $399 million to Apple after all for patent infringement. This case now goes back to the lower court for the damages to be re-examined. Our tech expert Ryan Eldridge joins us now with more. So, Ryan, this indeed a big win for Samsung.
It is. And, you know, this is the first case of its kind in nearly 120 years that the Supreme Court has ruled on. And it was unanimous, 8-0. They basically set aside a previous court ruling that said that Samsung owed Apple some $400 million for patent infringements. But the interesting thing is this didn't set aside like the entire case. They didn't say that Samsung wasn't at fault. They just basically said that maybe we're charging them too much. What's at stake here is some of the design patents around the bezel of the curve of the iPhone, the icons on the home screen, which prior to 2007 didn't exist. And Samsung Galaxy came out with their version of the Galaxy in 2009, which is just 2 short years after the iPhone came in and revolutionized the smartphone market. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What's interesting?
Well, the interesting thing is this has been going on since 2011, and Apple and Samsung have been throwing lawsuits at each other over and over again, and they eventually settled on deciding that this was the case that was going to decide all 40 lawsuits they had in nearly half a dozen countries. And also interesting here is that Samsung already paid last December $548 million to Apple on this case, and Samsung said, well, we don't owe them the $399 because those patents were for profits paid on the entire device. And that's what kind of came out in this case is the ruling was that it wasn't necessarily that Samsung was infringing and earning all of its profits on simply the designs, but that there were ultimately multiple things and multiple designs and multiple components that were making up the Samsung Galaxy. And so iPhone or Apple shouldn't be entitled to all of the profits, but only some of them.
Yeah, so Samsung basically said, hey, we shouldn't have to turn over all the profits, saying that design selections contributed only marginally to the product that has thousands of features. Obviously, though, Ryan, Apple not happy at all about today's ruling. I want to put up on the screen a statement from the company saying that it hopes that the lower court's quote will again send a powerful signal that stealing isn't right. And then it went on to say, our case has always been about Samsung's blatant copying of our ideas, and that was never in dispute. And again, the justices not saying that Samsung didn't steal ideas from Apple.
Yeah. You know, the interesting thing is because Samsung has been a provider for Apple technology, they created the original chip in the iPhone. They've been a provider. They just recently signed a deal in May to give OLED displays for the new possibly iPhone 8 that's going to be coming out next year. And so they've been partners this entire time, even though they're fighting it out. So this is obviously not going to be the end of either one of the companies. They're the top 2 cell phone manufacturers or smartphone manufacturers in the world, according to IDC that did a survey earlier this year. And so this isn't going to end anytime soon. Ultimately, this is going to go back to the lower courts to decide, and the Supreme Court refused to tell the lower courts specifically how to decide how damages are going to be awarded in this case. So this could spawn all kinds of litigation. One of the interesting things that came out of Samsung's arguments was they said that you wouldn't take away all of the profits from a car maker who was copying the designs of a cup holder from another car manufacturer. And that kind of makes sense. But here's kind of the interesting thing is I mean, I read the Steve Jobs biography, as many people did, and Bill Gates was famous for saying that the original design, the original GUI of the Mac design was stolen from Xerox. And they had a famous conversation in which Bill said to Steve, hey, we both robbed the same house at the same time. So in technology and in design, I mean, it's everybody borrows from each other. And sometimes people get a little mad. Steve was famous for getting really mad at Bill Gates for stealing his GUI design. So this is something that's for the ages. We're going to continue to see cases like this over and over again.
Yep. So the Samsung-Apple battle, legal battle continues. Hey, thanks so much, Ryan. Appreciate it.